Hey, what's up guys? John here. How do you survive this inflationary crisis that we're going through right now? We are seeing prices rise from car insurance to property insurance to health insurance to food to gasoline. Everything is just going through the roof, but yet wages are staying the same. Remember the old story 20, 30 years ago where you could have a basic job. Like for example, my grandmother and grandfather. My grandmother worked in a glass factory. Grandfather worked in a box factory. They didn't make much money, but they had a house that was basically paid for. They had 2 basic cars. They raised 4 daughters, and they sent 2 of them to school. Cosmetology school. Now, how does this work on basic salaries? And they never took out any debt. In fact, they lived on coupons, but they lived a really good life, debt-free, and they provided very well for their family. That today is nearly impossible, raising 4 daughters. You just can't do it unless you're making a significant amount of money. In fact, over 50% of people making $250,000 per year are paycheck to paycheck. How mind-blowing is that? That before, $250,000 a year, if you were earning that, you felt like you were rich, like you could buy anything. Money was not an issue. But yet in this inflationary environment, even people making $250,000 a year are still worried about financial insecurity. Now in this video, I'm going to break you down an example as to what you could do if you're making $50,000 a year, which is not a ton of money. It's a basic everyday wage at $26 per hour. $50,000 per year, working 40 hours a week at $26 an hour, that's what it would be. And this factors in for a $10,000 credit card bill. This factors in for, a $700 car payment. I'm going to break this all down. Please hit the like button. And by the way, my name is John Williams. I'm the founder of CashNow.Video, and my goal is to help 1 million people fix their credit score, increase their situation to where they can get access to money through credit card companies, and reduce their overall living expenses to help people get debt-free. So right now, $50,000 per year, it's $4,166 per month, $1,042 per week, and $26 per hour. Now you have that $10,000 credit card bill, and so the average car payment is about $700 in America. Car insurance, $200 per month. Gasoline is about $40 per week, $150 per month. Cell phone bill is $120 per month. Food is $1,000 per month, $250 per week. Rent is $1,500 per month. And a credit card bill, now $250 per month. You're making the minimum payments for this example. Now, what's mind-blowing and really startling is if you're making the minimum payments of $250 per month at a 26% interest rate, you pay back $13,499.84 in just interest over 7 years and 10 months. Now, what's fascinating to me is that many real estate investors go out there and they'll buy properties. They may pay $1 million for a property that will give a 5% return, meaning if they spend $1 million, they would make $50,000 a year in profit. These credit card companies, if they invest $1 million, they will expect $210,000 to $280,000 in return. So they want 5 times the return that a real estate investor would get by lending money to people that simply don't have it to pay back. And when we look at just the numbers here, $15 billion a year is what U.S. banks charge. All U.S. banks together charge $15 billion a year on just overdraft fees and NSF fees. And when we look at how the latest Fed rate hike will affect your credit card bill, it says the average credit card is about 21%, and it says that the average client for a nonprofit credit counseling agency has more than $18,000 in credit card debt. What we have determined is that over the course of this year, the 7 or so rate increases this year will mean almost $5,000 in interest over the lifetime of someone who is making the minimum payments. So it's a $5,000 tax for not having the money. The banks are making $15 billion in overdraft fees. Credit card companies are charging 21 to 28%. And then now interest rates are rising. It's costing $5,000 in extra interest. That's like charging 30% on top of how much you owe. If you owe at $18,000, like they say here in this example, and you're paying back an extra $5,000, they're charging you 30% of what you borrowed if you make the minimum payments. Now, what we're also looking at, and it all comes together. This inflation could cost your family an extra $11,500 per year. $11,500 this year. It says from NerdWallet Project that due to inflation, the average household would have to spend an extra $11,500 this year in order to maintain the same standard of living as previous years. Elizabeth Renter from NerdWallet explained that groceries would cost about $100 more per month and utilities at $70 monthly. Renter offered a few tips for holding increased costs down, right? So what we're starting to see here, it's very clear. If you're making $50,000 per year and they're saying that it's costing $11,500 for this year, $11,500 per household, that's a 20% tax. It's more than 20% tax. If you're making $50,000, you're paying $11,500, you do the math. It's over 20%. And so how do you get out of this? This is the real question. Well, what you want to do is you want to really study all of these expenses and ask yourself what you can do to reduce them. One good and big expense you could reduce potentially, if you have a car payment and let's say you owe this $700, what a lot of car dealers are thinking now is that they're in big trouble because they just sold cars far above what they're really worth because of the car market explosion. Everyone was very, very excited to buy cars. They're spending 30-40% over MSRP to get into a vehicle. And so what's going to happen now that interest rates are rising, the cost to borrow money is going through the roof, and there's less buyers out there that can afford these cars, meaning prices are going to fall. So the last thing that these auto dealers want is for you to come back to that dealership and say, you know what, I bought this $50,000 car for $70,000 and I can't afford the payment, so I'm going to give it back to you. Because what's going to happen is that car dealer is then going to try to sell that car, and they're most likely not going to be able to sell it. So they might have to reduce the price, and then instead of trying to work with you to keep you in that car that you paid $70,000 for, hypothetically, they would then have to reduce their prices to get it to a point where someone would actually buy it. Maybe at $50,000, maybe at $45,000. They don't want to do it. So if they could refinance your auto loan into a more comfortable payment, they would love to do it. However, you are going to need a better credit score than the one that you came in with when you got that loan. So you may have bought that car and you had a 600 or 620 credit score, but if you can find ways to increase your credit score, bring it up above 720, you might find yourself in a situation to save an extra $100 or $150 per month. The same could be true with your cell phone bill. You may be able to shop it around and find a cheaper cell phone plan. For example, I just reduced my own cell phone plan from $180 per month to about $87 per month, and I didn't lose anything. It's still unlimited text, unlimited calls domestically. I still have everything that I had at the other provider, but I was shopping it around and looking to save money as well. Because right now I think that's what everyone should be doing, looking to save money, finding ways in which they can save. Now, the cell phone bill, the car payment, they're going to be the easiest ones. The credit card bill, if you have a $10,000 credit card bill, the last thing that you should consider doing is paying someone else 21 to 28% interest. That's absolutely mad. That is crazy to pay someone $13,500 in interest to borrow money. What you could do is if you can bring up your credit score above 720. By the way, if you need help fixing your credit, we would love to help you with a free consultation. You can call us 561-430-5900 or go to CashNow.Video, but feel free to call us. Our customer service is incredible. If you want to increase your credit score, you can do so. And when you do this, what you could then do is open up opportunities for you to potentially do a balance transfer. Transfer the balance from a 21% or 28% interest credit card to a 0% APR card that will give you a 0% introductory offer for between 6 and 12 months, so you could really tackle that debt. You could tackle the debt. And for example, if you could find a way in which you could, pay down a lot more of that debt over the 6 to 12 months, you may be able to get out of that credit card debt for zero, really costing you nothing. Now, that would put you in a situation to save an extra $250 per month. Because right now, if you add up all of these debts, if they don't change, all of these debts remain the same, your monthly expenses will be $3,920. And your net gain at the end of each month is $246. That's very little. That doesn't account for clothes, it doesn't account for shoes, it doesn't account for going out with your friends, it doesn't account for anything. $246. And so the only real option is to save money, make more money, to reduce your cost, and to be sure you're not spending 21 to 28% interest on a credit card and avoiding the elephant in the room, which is credit card debt, because that is what keeps people down. No one's going to get ahead, no one's going to get rich paying somebody else 21% on their money. Nobody. So if you need help fixing your credit, we would love to help you. The world, I believe, is going to get much, much more expensive. I don't think that they're going to be able to, in my opinion, combat inflation and bring inflation down to 2%. I think that we are going to likely see inflation continue to roar. And if they're saying it's costing $11,500 per household right now, imagine if that continues. A $50,000 a year income in a year or 2 years might have the purchasing power of $30,000, which is just going to make things so hard. Now's the time to fix your credit. Now's the time to really zone in on your expenses. Find ways in which you can save money and position yourself for success. Because if you did, and you got that great credit score, what could ultimately happen is you might be able to find yourself into a situation to where you could buy a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex with 3.5% down. Buy one of these properties and you would be able to live inside one of the units, and the adjacent renters in that building could help offset your entire living cost, which would then help you save an extra $1,500 per month. Plus you have the tax benefits and all of the benefits of property ownership, and you could do that maybe even with as little as $15,000 down. Right? There's ways in which you can do it. Maybe buy a $400,000 property. Prices are going up. Prices are continuing to rise with mortgage rates. And so as mortgage rates are rising, prices on these properties are going to start to come down. So you're stepping into an opportunity where you could really position yourself well for success, and we'd love to be a part of that success at CashNow.Video. What do you think about this entire situation with inflation? Drop your thoughts below, hit the like button, subscribe here, and subscribe to my second channel. It's an interactive call-in show and a podcast. We talk about real estate, personal finance, real estate investing for beginners, and money. Also, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok up in the banner, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.